There's so many people to be a fan of right now, but that Columbia game might have cemented her as like, watch her constantly. Watch out for her.
Rimovich in the building. Welcome to another episode of the Rondo. Today's episode is presented by Nike. We're going to be talking all things NWSL, and I'm joined here by my experts, Celia Maya and Maya Steven.
What's up?
Before we get started, let's talk about the new Nike kits for the 2025 NWSL season.
The release was spectacular. Usually, it's a safe play when we see new kits, but I felt like this year, we had new colors, the pattern, we got a sweater feel.
Maya, what did you think about, because you worked at Washington Spirit, for example, and you've seen some of the colors shift, from a darker tone to now a yellow tone with the Washington Spirit. And how do you envision that kit looking on the pitch?
A highlighter yellow kit after scoring a game-winning goal, to me that makes sense. I think the brand is coming together slowly. So many new colors that have come out, so many bold patterns that I don't think any of us expected.
I feel like the Spirit kit too is it's so loud and it makes it very clear this is a team that can score goals, is creative attacking wise.
Let's also talk about Orlando's Pride's kit. I think Orlando Pride's kit is my personal favorite.
I know that's your favorite.
Being from Florida, seeing that purple, but most importantly, the badge in the middle is something unique.
Fire.
What do you guys think is the easiest kit to style and the hardest kit to style that just came out?
Easiest kit might be Racing Louisville. They're dark green.
The dark green.
Yeah.
And you can do any color combo with that.
Yep.
You can stick to neutrals with the brown and the grays and the cream. You can get crazy, add some orange, yellow. I think Louisville surprised us all. I was waiting for that lavender purple.
I was too.
And that pattern that they had last year.
The green is mellow, but it's it's one of my favorite colors, that dark green. It's because you can do so much with it.
I think for me, I like the BFC kit. If I get that oversized with some good, some denim and something, you know what I'm saying, rock it with a little bit of flair on the pants, I could do something crazy with that for sure.
I feel like for me, it's North Carolina. Just the all red is just in your face, but it's styled so nicely. Just the cut of it is incredibly clean. It's all one color. So I feel like you could wear anything on the bottom with it.
Who's one player you're most looking forward to seeing in their kit this year?
I really like Alyssa Thompson in the Angel City jersey, just because it's so pretty. It's kind of tame, but at the same time, it tells a story about the club.
Now let's talk about some ladies that are leading the charge for this upcoming NWSL season. Who are some of these players that we should be looking out for this season?
Players like Alozie Setnor, right? If you saw her play in that game against Colombia, it was literally touch, goal, upper 90. She's been doing that for US soccer for years, and now it's just elevating her game in the NWSL. And for a team like Utah, where she's definitely the star player of that team, there's so much room for her just to create her own lane and score more goals. So I'm really excited to see Alozie Setnor. And I know I mentioned Alyssa wearing the jersey, but she's another player that I think is going to have a really exciting season. You can see she has so much more confidence in her 1v1 ability, just going up against some of the world's best defenders. So I think she's going to help Angel City this year actually be a contender in the playoffs. So those would be my two.
And I know obviously a lot of people know Alex Morgan, for example.
Yeah.
When people think of women's soccer, they think of Alex Morgan. Who do you guys think could be that next girl up that could truly have that superstar appeal and really bring an audience to the sport?
I've said this multiple times in the last few weeks, but especially because of the Columbia game. Alozie Setnor, for real, I think there's so many people to be a fan of right now, but that Columbia game might have cemented her as watch her constantly. And I remember last year for NWSL awards, I went McCroy for multiple reasons. But now after that game, I'm yo, Allie, watch out for her.
Do you think her playing at Utah is beneficial or detrimental to her development? Not only as a person on the field, but as a brand, for example, because it might be harder to sell a brand on someone that plays in Utah as opposed to, in New York or in DC or in LA or a major city. So how do you guys feel about that?
I don't think she's worried about that, to be honest. I think she's such an amazing player in her own right. No matter where she goes, good things are gonna follow her. I even talked to her at media day a little bit about Utah, and she loves it. She just is always hoping to get that call up on the national team, but when it comes to her club, she's loyal. And I think as long as she's enjoying it and is happy playing there, that's really all that matters. Because also in the NWSL, every year is so different. Every season is so different. Utah fell at the bottom of the ranks last season, but we could see Utah and Houston at the top this year. Like, it just flips that quick.
And Allie's not new to this. She went to UNC, right? Like, that's the powerhouse soccer program. She's played on the youth national team multiple years. And here she is, shocking all of us, ripping balls, scoring goals at the national team level now. I'm not worried about her in Utah at all. I think it's beneficial that she's there, truly.
I think another big thing that we need to look out for this NWSL season are the girls that are going through challenges currently right now. A lot of people have forgot about Midge Purse, for example.
Yeah.
Her speed, how she could be a game changer. I remember her in the final for Gotham, and she was absolutely unstoppable on that right wing. Especially Croy Bethune, you know, with this injury again. Obviously, I think she's had, 2 ACL tears, if I'm correct, right? What are you guys looking forward to seeing them and in their new breakout years, you know, to come back? And what are some things we could expect from those two?
I mean, I feel like every year there's tons of challenges, specifically like injuries that unfortunately like hit every league. And unfortunately in soccer, you see a lot of ACLs. You see Achilles, you see like ankle breaks, all of that. I don't think you can look at one team and see a play. Like every team has players, multiple that have been hurt and have overcome and come back. And I think Croy is definitely somebody that I'm interested to see how she bounces back, because she had an insane rookie year where she kind of hit every milestone one could ever want, and then she got hurt. But I think she will bounce back, and she'll come back with even more force, because when I talk to her, she has her eyes set on even bigger goals. Yeah.
Just to go alongside, you know, players who have overcome tough challenges, because we're talking about that right now. Let's talk a little bit about Michelle Alozie and her multi-hyphenatedness, you know, being a cancer researcher and a professional athlete at the same time is absolutely incredible.
How does she do it?
Like, how do you even balance
look
that?
like?
I mean, and whenever, like, I don't know how often you have like talked to her, but she's so poised. I'm just like, right, because what does your calendar look like? Yeah. You're over here like solving cancer. You know, you're playing every position for Houston, literally. But
plays for her country.
Yeah, plays for her country, right. I think, you know, it used to be more common for professional soccer players to have part-time other jobs because it just wasn't sustainable. You know, and I think what's really interesting about her situation is it's a full-on choice. Yeah. Like, she just loves both. She loves both and she wants to do both. And obviously in season, it's challenging, but she finds a way to make do. And I think like that's super impressive.
Another player that's, you know, had a lot of challenges in her own right, Carson Pickett, in her story. How do you guys feel about, you know, her disability, how she's kind of turned that disability into a strength of her own?
I mean, when she talks about it, it is a strength of her own. And I think what's been really cool to see as she's progressed as like a player and a person is the way that she gives back to like other kids with disabilities. Like, you see her after games. Like,
I love that picture of her with the other kid who also had it.
Who is missing a limb and engage with him, you know? Like, that is so cool. When I talked to her a while ago, she said like growing up, it was one of those things, like she'd wear an oversized sweatshirt and like try and hide it. But now, like, it's just who she is. Yeah. And it doesn't make her any less of a soccer player. Like, Clearly. If you watch that girl, like, she is physical. Like, she's on that Orlando Pride team for a reason, because she contributes. And I think it's just a testament. It's another person that a little girl that maybe has a limb difference can look and be like, I could get there.
I think she's someone that understands she's bigger than the game. After she retires, hopefully that's a long time from now, people still talk about her because of what she represented on that field. I don't think you can pick 5 leagues in our country that has someone playing with a disability.
Yeah.
And playing at their prime.
At the highest
Carson
level.
Pickett ain't no.
And like
come off the bench, maybe. Like, please.
And we also didn't even talk about the cleats that she made with Nike, because they were for people that, because you don't realize you tie your shoes. Yeah. You tie your cleats. They made slip-on cleats.
That's fire.
With her. Yeah. Like, they went to her.
Adaptability.
And like, and now you see so many slip-on cleats. Like, it makes complete sense. Yeah. Like, nobody wants to deal with laces.
Oh, absolutely.
But some people can't deal with laces. So it's like, how do we include them in the sport?
And thinking about that story for Carson, again, our brands are able to come into this story, be a part of it, and help adapt and innovate, right?
Come up with a
Nike had no
solution.
reason to put slip-on cleats on until they said, Carson, let's figure this out.
Somebody can't tie their shoes.
Exactly. Now Nike's the innovator in that space because they attach themselves to a player like Carson who's doing so much in the game.
Now that we've talked about NWSL on the pitch and off the pitch, who do you think is going to be the most important player that we talked about on the pitch this year?
I'm going with Ally Setnor. I just think what she's done in such a short amount of time, the senior national team, is going to naturally transcend into what she does in the league. You just don't produce goal scorers like her anymore.
Troy Bethune, without a doubt. Midfielder of the year last year, rookie of the year. She's coming off an injury that shocked us all. So I think it's like her revenge tour. Rookie season part 2. She's ready to break that assist stat and maybe bring the Spirit back to a championship for sure.
So that's the end of today's episode of the Rondo. Thank you so much to Nike for sponsoring today's episode. If you want to tap into the players, the kits, and everything around NWSL, the season starts on March 14th to see all the ladies leading the charge in the league, and we'll catch you guys soon.